there anything you wanted to say before I get started?
Yes. Namaste, Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to the Weekend with Wisdom series. And we have been privileged and blessed to be discussing on a very important text, Swarupa Anusandhana Ashtakam, an octet on self-contemplation. We are meeting for the second session in the series. We have with us Swamini Svatmavidyananda Saraswati ji joining us. Thank you so much, Swamini ji, once again for joining us.
Thank you, Hari. Thank you for doing this labor of love on your part and service. Very nice. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. So before we go ahead and I introduce Swamini ji, I would like to chant a prayer. Sahana bhavatu, sahanau bhunattu, sahabhiryam karavavahai, tejasvinavadhitamastu, ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari.
Thank you. If I can please bother you to share the text
Sure.
like you did on Dropbox so that people can, in the chat pod. So
Yeah.
the text that we are going to be following will be in the Dropbox link. So those of you who are joining us for this session for the first time, you please download the text by clicking on the link that Hari Vitthal will send you. Okay. We saw in the earlier session all that it takes to be able to get to a place of even desiring to know the self. And why do I say desiring to know the self? Because the self is, if it is an unknown self, then, how are we going to know it? There is, if it is totally unknown, then it is a problem because how are you going to know it? And if it is already known, then also there is no need for Vedanta. If the self is not knowable, no need for Vedanta. If the self is already known, no need for Vedanta. But we are like Trishankus in between. We are hanging in between. In between knowing it and not knowing it, kind of knowing the I know I'm great, but I don't know how. I know I should be happy, but I don't know how. And this is what it is. I know I should be contented, but somehow I'm confronted with discontent. I know I can be accommodated. On days when I wake up on the right side of the bed, I'm completely accommodative. But then later on, some days nothing works. And so this is why we need the knowledge. So the knowledge is such that there are certain prerequisites. This is true of every body of knowledge. Every body of knowledge has prerequisites. If you say, I'm going from KG, after becoming a KG graduate, I'm going to enroll in a PhD class, and you are not a child prodigy. Okay, I have to say that also. There are certain child prodigies at 5 years old, they are in this some kind of a Mensa club for gifted children and all these things. We are not talking of that. We are talking of the average person. So you finish your KG. By the time you finish your KG, you are 6 years old in most countries, in most parts of the world, and then you say, "I'm going to take postgraduate level classes. I'm going to take PhD classes." It does not work. Does not work. The child, if you put a 5-year-old in a PhD class, it will not understand. It will get restless. It will get bored. It will wonder what is it that's going on. So from KG to PhD, if you want to go, then first you have to go to, the first grade, second grade, which is just in like in India, first standard, second standard, all the way to getting a high school diploma. This is there universally. Then after high school diploma, also you cannot understand PhD material. Then you have to go sit in, and get a graduate degree. You have to get a degree. You have to become a graduate. And then after that, you have to get your master's. Then only the PhD classes will make sense. Otherwise, it is just like for somebody else, not for me, like distributing leaflets of Vedanta retreats in the movie theater or in the mall. What will happen? Nothing will happen. That's the idea. People will just use those papers to put their popcorn or their roasted peanuts in it. That's all it is used for. So, therefore, these prerequisites are very important. And the first verse that we saw discuss the prerequisites very beautifully of Viveka, Vairagya, etc. And I will share the text. So, we will just briefly go over that and then go to and immediately go to the next set of verses. So here we saw tapoyagnya danadibhihi. These are the prerequisites for getting what? Shuddha buddhi. Shuddha buddhi means a mind that is that is able to understand PhD material, an uncluttered mind. PhD in terms of one's own, like a very sukshma understanding, a very subtle understanding of its own self. Very difficult. Then, that was karma yoga, tapo, yajna, and dana, meaning a life of discipline, a life of not overconsumption, a life that is where one discovers oneself not just a consumer but as a contributor to everything, and that is where all the ragadveshas clearance takes place. The thicket, the forest of ragadveshas is pruned nicely, and there is the possibility of the understanding that I am nothing other than that which I seek to know. This Bhagavan is opened up. Not so fast. There is one more big, what is that? One more big prerequisite that is talked about in the next line. Viraktaha. Viraktaha means vairagya. So this Shama, all this Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam, which is called the six pack. Not the six pack of alcohol, not the six pack of muscles that one has, after going to the gym, but a similar six pack of going to karma yoga gym, where you have the gunas, where you cultivate the qualities of a calm mind, a non-reactive but responsive mind. We talked about that, shama, dama, and where you have a say over your hands and legs. You just because you feel like beating somebody up, you don't beat them up. You instead take that pain and then resolve it through other means. You don't make yourself or another person a target of your pain or of your anger. So all this is included in the first line. That is what leads to the buddhi being able to delve into questions that are more esoteric, if you speak, not run of the mill questions of what shall we have for dinner, or where shall we go tomorrow, or I want to watch this show and you always want to watch what you want to watch, this kind of a fight. There is a new normal, and the new normal is where the mind gently alights like a butterfly on a beautiful colorful flower. That becomes the new normal, the flower of self-enquiry, the flower of the lotus blossom, the blossoming lotus of the unfolding self. That is where the mind goes. Who is Bhagavan? Who am I? What is the connection? Why is there this strife? How can I rise beyond? That is when these kinds of inquiry comes to the fore. That is a prepared mind. then it's not just enough to have a prepared mind. There must be the ability to eschew. Eschew means totally give up. Totally give up the fancies as they arise in the mind. As the Bhagavad Gita says, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan atmani eva atmana tushtaha sthita prajnah tada uchyate. Describing a person of knowledge, what distinguishes one from a person of knowledge? What's the difference between me and a jnani? If somebody were to ask, Bhagavan Krishna responds by saying that there are two differences. One is the jnani, the person of self knowledge, the one who has crossed the ocean of samsara through this boat of this wisdom. What is the first criterion? The first criterion is that the person has absolute freedom with regard to the desires that arise in the mind. Even if it is not a desire, it's just a fancy. Oh, I'd like to watch a particular movie. And then you look at all your streaming options and that movie is not there. So what do? You say, okay, doesn't matter, I'll watch something else. This is a free desire. You are free with regard to this desire. You're not losing sleep and getting depressed because you can't watch this particular show or your movie. You say, okay, I'll watch something else. This is a non-binding desire. So with reference to the jnani, whether whatever kind of fancy arises in the mind, their mind is so free that they are able to drop the fancy even as it arises in the mind. Criterion number one. Criterion number two, Atmani eva Atmana tushtaha. They are free and happy exactly how they are. They are not they are not wanting some other source of entertainment to keep them entertained. No movie, not even internet. No internet, no movie, no people, nothing. No books, nothing. They are able to just generate their own happiness, so to speak, because it's a happiness that is not generated. It is just their Swarupa. That is what it is. And so therefore, the practice here of Vairagya, the cultivation of a mindset that allows everything to be dropped, is very, very important. And having dropped everything, yadapnoti tattvam, the person gains this understanding. What is this understanding? This is the refrain. I am nothing other than that consciousness which is Brahman, which is Bhagavan, which is established. How this knowledge is established? By understanding the I, not as the sum total of the body, mind, sense complex, but that which transcends the body, mind, sense complex, that which is free, which is in the form of awareness as I. It is consciousness, it is awareness. So when you unpack the I, that is as though connected to the body, that's as though indwelling the mind, etc., what you get is consciousness. How do you unpack the I? You remove cognitively, don't remove the body literally, but cognitively you remove all that is finite. Body, finite, check. Mind, finite, check. So you don't reckon it. You don't reckon it in your understanding of the I. So that which is finite, you don't include. Senses, finite, yes. That's why we need glasses. That's why we need hearing aid. And God only knows what else. New hip, new leg, new knees, new this, new that. By the time one is 85, no, none of the original body parts are there, including teeth. Everything is replaced. And so the body definitely finite, mind finite, everything finite, sense organs finite. We know this. We don't count that in the I. That awareness that the body is finite, that is the I. The observer is the I. So that observer is consciousness, because I'm conscious of everything and I'm conscious of myself. This is what is the I. Then on the other side, samashti means on the side of the collective also you do the same thing with Ishvara, where the equation is made and you basically take away all power, all knowledge, the ability to do srishti, to bring the universe as an appearance, and then to sustain the universe and take back the universe. You take away the powers because they come and go. Jagat itself comes and goes. You take away the Jagat cognitively, and what do you see is that consciousness, limitless consciousness. I am, that is the Brahman, that is what it is. But then, how did you get this knowledge? Let us see further. Dayalum Gurum Brahmanishtham Prashantam Samaradhya Bhaktya Vicharya Swarupam Yadapnoti Tattvam Niddhidhyasa Vidvan Param Brahma Nityam Tadevahamasmi Dayalum Gurum Brahmanishtham Prashantam Samaradhya Bhaktya Vicharya Swarupam Yadapnoti Tattvam Nididhyasya Vidwan Param Brahma Nityam Tadevahamasmi. You get it by approaching a teacher. Simple. I am ignorant. So, what do I need? Knowledge. And then, how do I get the knowledge? I go to the source of the knowledge, which is what? Gurum Samaradhya. Approaching the Guru ceremonially. Gurum Samaradhya. Samaradhya means with a worshipful attitude. We'll be seeing that. So, but then what is the connection? Why should I approach the Guru? Why do I need Guru? Because all the Upanishads are translated from Max Muller onwards. There are so many translations. So I just pick up a book and then I can learn from a book. In fact, many times this is the problem in Kali Yuga that as soon as the word Guru is said, the person has allergies and breaks into hives. Gets all kinds of rashes. The word Guru brings out rashes. Why? Because it is an authority figure, and people with authority issues, and everybody has authority issues. For people with authority issues, it's a very, very difficult proposition. Oh, I have to surrender. They have enough smattering of the knowledge to know Guru is not, you can't just slap the Guru on the back and say, Yo, Guru, let's have coffee. This is not the relationship with the Guru. Yo, Guru, what's up? You can't say that. Even though you may want to, you can't say that. Everybody knows Guru means it's more of a formal relationship, and there is respect, there is shraddha, there is devotion, there is faith, and then there is an urgency in the approach. So you say, please teach me. There is a humility. All this thing, even the person who doesn't know Vedanta knows this much. And even in other tradition, there are gurus or some kind of saintly people who go by gurus. Even in the Sufi tradition, there are gurus, and then again the same kind of thing is there. Same rules, etc. of approaching is there. And it's not that the guru is looking out for shishyas. Where are you? No. If any guru offers himself or herself up, please come to me. Please do not go to them. Okay? Yeah. Because the definition of guru is the one who removes the knowledge for the one who has approached him or her. So therefore, the guru is needed even though you are adept, perhaps even in Sanskritam. Forget what is his name, Max Muller, etc. I can read the original. Okay, read the original. What will you get? And this is the authentic translation of one of the Shanti mantras. That is whole. This is whole. Okay. And when you take away the whole, from the whole, what remains is the whole. Then you have a question. Okay, so how do you spell that last whole? Hole, right? Because that's what is in my brain right now. Big hole. No, no, no. Whole. Can't understand. How can you take away the whole from the whole and what remains is the whole? What is this? So the translation is authentic. Perfect. Authentic translation. This is not like some kind of a bad translation. And then if you take the Bhagavad Gita also, 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Uddharedatmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet atmano atmano bandhuhu then atmano ripuhu atmanaha. So then how do you translate this? Lift the self up by the self. First of all, I'm feeling, down, and I'm told to lift myself up by myself, and this doesn't make any sense. Therefore, the Upanishad is giving something which is a live knowledge, the live coal of knowledge that has to be stoked and made into the fire by the Guru's words. Why are the words so important? The words are important because that itself is a means of knowledge. Not that which you deduce, not that which you induce, not that which you see, which you hear, the smells that you pick up, all these things. Not arthapatti, not that which you come to some conclusions based on certain inferences. Not anumana, simple inference, arthapatti, complex inference. This knowledge is not based on any of the ways of knowing with which we are extremely comfortable and familiar. How do you know something? You can know something by a pramana, a means of knowledge. I can see that you are there, I can see, I can hear, and this is what is called pratyaksha pramanani, the five pramanas that are immediately available to me, aka the sense organs. These sense organs are very, very evident. I see, I hear, I pick up the smell. Don't say I smell, because that will give a different, that will make people wonder if you've had a shower or not. Okay, so I pick up smells, and then what else? I touch, and then I taste. I am the one in charge of all these ways of knowing. I'm the one. I'm the one in charge of all these ways of knowing. I'm the one that is there. And then, so therefore, I can also know this knowledge, because after all, what am I knowing? I am knowing the I, and I can know this knowledge too. No, this is the knowledge that you cannot see. Why? Because we are talking about the nature of the seer. And similarly, you can repeat this for all means of knowledges you cannot hear, because we are talking of the nature of the hearer. We are not talking of the nature of the one who picks up smells, etc., etc. So the five pratyaksha pramanas, the five immediately available means of knowledge which I operate, have been denied to me. A big cross has been put. Oh, then I will infer the I. How are you going to infer? How are you going to infer? Oh, I will, somebody, in fact, a French philosopher tried to do this. His name was Descartes. And Descartes came with a very nice maxim. What did he say? His famous words: I think, therefore I am. He tried to infer the self. So when he's sleeping and he's not thinking, does he cease to exist? No. Thankfully, he reversed that. He said, no, no, I am, therefore I can think. Before he died, he did that. But most of his life, he went on saying, I think, therefore I am. I think, therefore I am means what? That is durvichara siddha. Durvichara siddha is the wrong thinking. That's the product of wrong thinking. This is what happens if you put Descartes before day horse. Okay, yeah. So this is this is what it is. So this is not what you do, because you cannot say I think, therefore I am. Supposing somebody says, you want some more coffee? I don't think so. That means you still cease existing when you say, I don't think so? No. You are. You precede the thought. You precede action. So you are already there. That's why you can think. So inference gone. You cannot infer that you are. Because we are talking of the nature of the one who is making the inference, the inferer. So this simple inference is called anumana. One example of that simple inference is what? I woke up and all the roads are wet. Then what? It must have. Nobody says, oh, somebody took a hose pipe and watered the roads. No. If I wake up and the roads are wet, it has rained in the night. I didn't see the rain, but I inferred the rain, seeing the roads uniformly wet. I inferred that it must have rained. Simple inference. Even complex inferences, again, the two-step inference called arthapatti, again, I'm capable, the human mind is capable of doing. You have a teenager at home, and what does what do you as the parent say? Where were you? I told you to be home at 7 o'clock. Now it is 9:30. You missed your curfew. Where were you? Oh, I was studying at a friend's house. Wrong, because I called the friend and you were not there. I was somewhere else. No, I called that person also. You were not there. Where were you? Anyatha upapattau, meaning it's not possible. Any other thing is not possible. You just went to a movie or you went somewhere else without telling me. And this is, so the parents of teenagers are experts in arthapatti, in complex inferences, because because they have to be extra vigilant. They have to be present, and they have to know what is going on. They have to have eyes at the back of their heads. So this is arthapatti. This is also not useful in knowing the self, because we are talking of the nature of the inferer. Another means of knowledge that I have at hand, what is that called? It is called a simile in English. Simile means something that I know. There are two things. One is a known thing, and one is a unknown thing. And so I use the known thing to know the unknown thing. So if I tell you that, for example, there is a valley of flowers. You don't know the valley of flowers, but you know some other thing. You know the garden or a meadow in your own house. You know the back garden and your backyard. And then when that backyard is full of flowers, how it will look, and then just I will tell you, go to the Himalayan valley of flowers in the month of September, October, and it will be your backyard multiplied by 100 times. So you can know that. So the valley of flowers unknown, but your own backyard known. So you can extrapolate a known thing and kind of know the unknown thing. So when you go there, the knowledge is there. It's a kind of an indirect knowledge, but still it is a means of knowledge. This is called upama, not to be confused with what you have for breakfast, upma. Okay, that's not what it is. It is upama, similes. Two things which are similar are compared, and the unknown thing is known through the known thing. That is how it is. Then we have a peculiar means of knowledge which we operate, which is called anupalabdhi, or the cognition of absence. Cognition of absence means what? Cognition of absence means, is there a pot in the palm of my hand? What will you say? No, there is no pot in your hand. Why? Because pot means I know what pot is. I know what hand is. The two are not there together. So I can see that. I can cognize the absence of an object, provided we answer the questions what and where. These two questions are very, very important for operating this particular pramana called anupalabdhi. What is absent and where is it absent? These two things I have to know. And if I don't know what is absent and where it is absent, you cannot say blanket zero. I am zero. Anupalabdhi, I don't find myself. You take away the body, you take away the mind. I am zero. I am shunya. Means who is saying that? Me. I am saying I am shunya. Well, if you are saying you are shunya, then are you an existent being or not? Yeah. So how can you deny your own existence? Even when you say I am zero, I am non-existent, Shunya means zero. If you say I am non-existent, then you know what you're doing? It's like a child hiding behind the couch and saying, don't look behind the couch. I am not there. Or a child saying, don't disturb me, I'm sleeping. You know that is not possible. Similarly, I am Shunya means broadcasting your existence and also one's foolishness. Both are broadcast at the same time. So this is the gamut of the means of knowledge that I have and hold and I have in my hand. This is what I have. So how are you going to know the Atma with all this? You cannot see, hear, pratyaksha, gone, wrong. Anumana, arthapati, gone, because otherwise I'll run into Descartes problem that he had, because he tried to infer the self. Then upama, yes, I can compare the I to something. Well, how many things are there other than Atma? Nothing else is there. Nothing else is there. Atma is everything. It is the only thing that is there. That's how we say Advaya. Advayatma. Meaning there is only one, non-dually one, that I is. So what about the Jagat? It is all an extension of me. It is all a projection of me. The whole Jagat is non-separate from me. That is the knowledge. Jagat means universe. So therefore, what are you going to compare? Because comparison means you need at least two things. But here Atma is all one alone. There is nothing to compare the Atma with. And so therefore what? Therefore, this means of knowledge is not useful. In fact, Vedanta poets have a hard time writing poetry because they can only compare the Atma to space or the sun. And even there they fall short. This is very, very interesting. So, upama as a means of knowledge doesn't work. And then finally, zero, that also doesn't work. Anupalabdhi doesn't work. So, there is, either we have to say the Atma is unknowable, in which case we are, all the Swamis are out of a job, or we have to say that there is a specific means of knowledge just for knowing the Atma. And that is the sixth means of knowledge called Shabda, words. Words of the teacher that are culled from the Upanishad, magnified. So the teacher is just a megaphone, amplifying the words of the Shastra, making sure you hear it. And in the hearing alone is the redemption, the liberation, moksha, whatever you want to call it. In the hearing alone. Why? Because what we are trying to do is not have a new definition of the self. What we are trying to do is remove all the misapprehension, as Hari was saying earlier, to remove all the misunderstanding, the missed takes, and the mistakes centered on the I. Two kinds of mistakes are committed. I mean, there are many, but we can categorize them into two. One is I do not recognize myself for what I am, mistake number one. What is that? I don't know I'm Satchidananda. Therefore, in the I attribute the I, or I transfer upon that infinite I qualities of finitude. Atmani anatma adhyasa. A projection of not I onto the I. This is the first kind of mistake. What is the example of that? Oh, I am feeble, I am old, I am dying, I'm dead. Nobody says that, but still, I'm dying, I'm gone, I'll be gone soon. This is what it is. This is the first mistake. That I don't recognize the I to be that conscious, that existent conscious being who is never ending, who is all knowing, who is limitless. Satchidananda, I don't see myself as, and so I see myself as finite. So the body attributes, the Deha Dharma is adhyasta, is projected onto the Atma, which is free of body attributes. The mind Dharma projected onto the Atma, which is free of all these mental attributes. Sad, restless, all these things it doesn't have. The attributes of the prana projected onto the Atma, that is free from needing prana at all. It doesn't need inhalation, Atma doesn't need to breathe. You need, you meaning the one that is identified with the body mind sense complex needs to breathe, not the I. That is the subject matter of the Upanishads. That I which watches the breath is not needing to be breathing in order to be alive, in order to be sentient. This is not a small thing, this is a huge thing. Very, very, very big thing. We have to understand this. So, okay, so then this is the first kind of mistake. And so deha dharma, mano dharma, and then what else? All these things, the mind, senses dharma, indriya dharma are superimposed as it were upon the atma that is free of all superimpositions. Like it is just like having a crystal behind which you put red cloth, yellow cloth, white cloth, black cloth, and then it abhati, it as though appears to be red. And the traditional example is what? Japa kusumam, the what's its name? The hibiscus, red hibiscus. Before it used to be only red. Now we have white, pink, etc. Some hybrid experiments. So the red hibiscus, rakta japa kusumam, you put behind the crystal, and then from afar the crystal looks red. The crystal as though takes on the dharma. Dharma here is not dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Dharma here means guna. It takes on the guna, the attribute of the japa kusumam, the hibiscus, without becoming red. The redness is as though an apparition, an appearance, and the crystal has nothing to do with the redness. And after you take away the flower, you don't need a wet cloth to wipe the crystal because the redness has sat on the crystal. No, not at all a possibility. Similarly, the Atma is like the crystal. It takes on, as it were, the body dharma without really becoming the body. It takes on the mind dharma without becoming the mind. And the indriyas, the sense organs, without becoming any one of them. It is free, even though it appears to be associated with the body mind sense complex, it is totally free of all of them. So, this is the first kind of mistake. I don't know that. I mistake the crystal to be red. Then somebody puts yellow cloth. Oh, now the crystal has become a brahmachari wearing yellow cloth. And then what? Then somebody puts orange cloth. Oh, Kristalananda Namaha. The crystal has become a Swami now. It has become a Swami crystal, brahmachari crystal. No, no, no. Crystal is crystal. All these are as though attributes which are as it were superimposed upon that, which is never a sitting duck for any kind of superimpositions, which is totally free of all impositions, which lends its presence and lends its existence to everything without becoming any one thing. This is very important to know. So, this is the first kind of a mistake. And the second kind of a mistake is the opposite mistake. So the first kind of mistake is what? Atmani anatma adhyasa. So the not I attributes of finitude, etc., are as it were superimposed upon the I, which is infinite. Therefore, making the I into some kind of a thinking, coming to the wrong conclusion that the I is finite. The second kind of mistake is anatmani atma adhyasa. I don't know which one is worse. Both are bad, okay? Yeah. Anatmani atma adhyasa. Anatmani means in the anatma, in the not I, meaning objects of desire, etc., that are surrounding me in this jagat. Then I have what? Atma adhyasa. Since I talked about this already, I can just touch upon it. Making the finite objects into infinite. Body is what? Finite. Relationship finite. Viyogantam, Viyogantah sarve samyogaha. Sureshwaracharya talks about this in the Vartika of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So all coming together is until parting. Every friendship lasts until it doesn't. Every union lasts until the separation. But still, what do? I want the relationship to be there forever. I want to be forever in this body, and then I want the other person of whoever I love, children, whatever, family, etc. Whoever the person loves, that person also should be there forever. And then all the objects that one loves, that also should be there forever, like house, like job, like money, all these things. This is the second kind of a mistake, anatmani atma adhyasa. So the the nature of the Atma, I keep searching for the Satchidananda in every object. But since I fall in love with the name and form, I don't see, I'm unable to understand what is it that informs, what is it that inheres every name and form, without which any name and form is incomplete. I'm unable to understand, and so therefore I make the mistake of falling in love with the name and form. This is the second, and wanting it to continue. And when it doesn't continue, what happens? Chaos and sorrow ensue. Fear ensues. Fear is the result. So, how are you going to remove these two projections? Please tell me. Atmani, in the Atma, Anatma projection, and then in the Anatma, Atma projections. And somebody, once I was giving a lecture on this, and somebody said, "Oh, only two kinds of mistake." I said, "Is this not enough? This encompasses everything. This is the cause of sorrow. This is the cause of fear. This is the cause of doubt. This is the cause of despair. This is the cause of distrust. What more do you need? You don't need anything else. It encompasses everything." And so, therefore, what? How are you going to remove it? No, by myself. How? How are you going to remove it? So, therefore, since this is a cognitive issue, you can remove it. You can't remove it by the means of knowledge that you have, and you cannot remove it by action either. Because action and knowledge are like oil and water, they never can mix. Those are two different and divergent trajectories. Action means what? What can you do with action? With action, what you can do is you can at the most change the nature of something. You can say vikarya. You can change the nature of something. You can combine two things and make it into a third thing, like a science experiment. You can do that. Or you can you can go from one place to another and get something. You can change the nature of something. You can clean something if it is dirty, like a copper pot is tarnished. You can do samskaryam. Vikaryam means like milk into yogurt. Vikaryam, samskaryam. And then apyam means you it is away from you, so you can go get it. You can go get something. Janyam, you can create something out of two different things. You can do things like that. This is what the actions can do. Actions cannot tell you what you already are, and removing the mistake. This is a cognitive pursuit. These people don't understand. People say, "I want to meditate myself to moksha." Okay, meditate. Then what will happen? You will be stuck in verse number 1. Tapo yajna danadibhihi. You will be all well equipped for moksha, but then you will be sitting there not gaining the understanding that you are what you seek. Not gaining that understanding. Why? Because, equipped with Viveka and Vairagya, what do you gain? You gain it's like sitting at home wearing a tuxedo. Tuxedo means it's kind of a special suit where in the Western world, where you go to a opera, a concert, or a wedding, something like that, a very formal occasion. So this fellow is wearing a tuxedo sitting at home. And then you ask him, "Where are you going? Are you going somewhere out?" Tuxedo is like a Kanjivaram sari. You only take it out for an airing on special occasions. And so here is the person all dressed up, no place to go. And then you ask the person, "What are you doing? Are you going somewhere?" No. Then why are you having a formal, function at home? No. Then why are you wearing this tuxedo? Just like that. Then, you just, the friends of these people will look at each other and say, "Okay, leave him there only. Don't say anything more." That's it. They'll come to their own conclusions about that person's state of emotional health. That's all that they will do. This is how it is. So if you're wearing a tuxedo, if you're all equipped here with Viveka Vairagya, that is the sari, that is the tuxedo. And so better to then go somewhere. This is the preparation in order to do something. That is not the be end of it all. There is something more to go. There is somewhere more to go. And equipped with this shanti, a mind that is tranquil, equipped with all this, one goes where one seeks the teacher. Because I cannot intuit this knowledge, I'm helpless to understand that I am the whole. There is that helplessness. And that helplessness, the understanding of the helplessness, coupled with the yearning to be free of the notion of samsara. That's right. I didn't make a mistake. I didn't mean to say ocean of samsara and said notion of samsara. I meant to say notion of samsara because that's what samsara is. That which appears to be an ocean, but then when you go to the Guru, it just merely becomes a notion. This is what is needed. There is no ocean. That which appears as an ocean and then troubles me. This is what happened to Mirabai. Because she went to the Guru seeking swimming lessons. How do I swim in the ocean of samsara? What do I do? She said. This 13th century saint, 13th, 14th century saint, medieval Indian saint poetess. Beautiful. And so she said, I want to go, I cannot leave the feet of the Guru because I want to know. I went to the Guru seeking knowledge of how to swim in this shark infested, alligator infested, seaweed infested waters, deep waters with riptides and undercurrents, all these things ready to swallow me up. And what did the Guru do? The Guru revolutionized my vision by showing me that there is no ocean. The ocean, that which I thought to be ocean, is but a notion. भवसागर सब सूख गया है फिकर नहीं मोहे तरनन की. There is no need to swim because what I thought was the ocean of samsara has dried up. And when the ocean, which sustains the seaweeds, the sharks, the alligators, the riptides, when the ocean is gone, then all the things that depend, all the scary things that depend on the ocean, they are all what? They are also gone. All gone. This is Vedanta Shastra. This is why the teacher is needed. The teacher is needed to show me that I don't need to seek at all. The teacher is needed to make me drop all kinds of seeking because I now know that there is nothing to seek. I can relax in this knowledge. So, therefore, the next verse talks about the teacher. The first line are the qualifications of the teacher because the author here is compassionate enough to not want you to go, to stop you from going to anybody or everybody. Somebody who is on the street corner saying, come to me, do not go. And another person who says, how did you get this knowledge? I got this knowledge apne aap. Means all by myself I got this knowledge. I didn't go to any guru, as though going to a guru is a shameful act. It's like admitting I'm ignorant. No, I got this knowledge all by myself. You know what? If you got this knowledge all by yourself, then we have to tell you that please keep this knowledge to yourself. Don't share it with me. We don't trust the knowledge which has come all by yourself. The Guru is one who is gained the knowledge from his Guru, who has gained the knowledge from her Guru, his Guru, her Guru, all the way to Narayana, Sadashiva. That's why we say Narayanam, Padmam, Bhuvam, all this. There is a full verse, tracing this knowledge to Vishnu or tracing this knowledge to Shiva. That's all there is, no other thing. No other thing. It comes from Bhagavan. Then the Bhagavan, is the one who gave the rishis the mantras. They were able to see the mantras of the Upanishads, and they were already blessed because of this yajna dana tapas with a calm mind. They were able to understand this Upanishad and then give it to their students, who then became gurus, gave it to their students, all the way in an unbroken chain, unbroken lineage. Like this, there are so many lineages, but they all teach the same thing. You see this? All Advaita lineages teach the same thing. How is this possible? Because it is unbroken. That for us is the Guru. Somebody who does not put themselves up front and center, because this is not a cult. This is not a cult, it's a culture of a lineage. That's what it is. It is not a cult. Cult means that person is all front and center. We are just the microphone of the knowledge. In this tradition, the gurus are the microphone of the knowledge. They just amplify and shamelessly copy what their gurus taught them. They just plagiarize and then give it. That's all it is. And make it relevant to whatever is needed at any particular given time. This is what the guru is. And so, and the guru, we have to be very careful. So don't go to somebody who says, come to me, because the guru should not have any pressure to have a following. That is not a guru who keeps saying, who keeps checking his or her Twitter feed to find out whether whatever they posted is trending, or whether whether they have more followers than when they last checked. No. The guru is the one who is free of such pressures, including the pressure to teach. This is very, very important. So the guru teaches out of a sense of compassion. So the guru is the compassionate one, as it is said, Dayalu, Dayalu. Dayalu, this aluch, this pratyaya, aluch means the suffix aluch, daya plus aluch, dayaluhu. It makes a male pratyaya, masculine word it makes. And so this aluch here is to show always the same. Not dayalu just because I want something from you. I want your dakshina. That is why I'm going to be dayalu to the ones who give dakshina, and to the others I'm not going to be dayalu. No, all the time. All the time. The nature itself is Daya. The one who is an outpouring of Daya, the one who is an embodiment of compassion. The Viveka Chudamani describes the Guru very beautifully. And, Shanto Danto Nivasanti Santah Vasantavalloka Hitantarantah. Then Vasantaval Hitam Loka Hitam Charantah. Tirna Swayam Bhima Bhavarnamam Bhavan Anyanapi Ahetuna Tarayantah. Very beautiful description of this first line here. Same thing, a reiteration. So, who is the Guru? In the Viveka Chudamani, another celebrated, very highly regarded Vedanta work of Vedanta, there the Guru is described like the spring season. The Gurus are like the spring. What happens in the spring? After a terrible winter of ice and snow, not a single color is there. Even green color of the trees are not there, because the trees have shed their leaves. And then suddenly you see a crocus. That is usually the first one to come out from the ice, a kind of a purplish flower, indigo colored flower. And then, even if you're in a bad mood, you smile. Then the cherry blossoms come, then all the pear blossoms come, all the big flowering trees come, and everything, magnolias come, and then it's a riot of colors. Your own back garden blooms, and the trees on the road bloom. Everything is so beautiful. And then, what is the charge to view the spring per hour? Is there a charge? No. Free. Some things in life are freely enjoyed, so the spring is free. Spring just springs, a hetuna, without any reason. And but just be, and the gurus, like the spring, vasantavat loka hitam charantah. Their whole life is for loka hita, to help people, alleviate the sorrow, alleviate the sorrow of the people, to alleviate the pain of the people, and to teach the people to see that there is no sorrow, to teach them that is their purpose. And then and who are they? Tirnaha swayam. They have crossed what? Bhima Bhavarnavam. They have crossed this terrible ocean, this frightening ocean of samsara. They have crossed ahetuna, and without any needing anything in return, including the subtle desire, you should be in my classes, you should follow me. That's also not there. Leaving all that, without any purpose, without any reason, they just teach. That is the Dayalu Guru. That is exactly how it is, this thing. And then another qualification of the Guru, Brahmanishtham Prashantam. Brahmanishtha. First we'll see Prashanta, that's easier. Prashanta means the one who is like a placid lake. You go sit next to them and you already feel better. You're able to drop all your strife and the mad mind, which is the mind chatter. You're able to drop because they are like a placid lake. Why? Because they don't have the ripples of wants all the time. They don't have waves of desire touching their surface, which gives rise to ripples of wants and desires. It's not there. They are free. That's why they are prashanta. Brahmanishtham. Brahmani nishtha yasya brahmanishthah. Nishtha means a commitment. A life which is committed to Brahman. This is kind of hard to discern, because you can't tell this from the outside. How can you tell whether the mind of the teacher is rooted in Brahman or in something else? It's very difficult to say. A teacher can be thinking of ice cream while teaching Viveka Chudamani. Possible. So this is difficult to understand. That's why the other qualification is easier. Shrotriya, which is not mentioned here, but which I talked about, the one who comes from a sound lineage of not distorting the words of the Upanishad, that is the person to go to. Brahmanishtha also, if you get, you are very, very lucky. But you can't look for Brahmanishtha, because only one Brahmanishtha can understand another Brahmanishtha. And so therefore you cannot do that. You cannot, don't go for Brahmanishtha, go for Shrotriya, which is the other qualification, which is not alluded to here. So you approach a guru who is willing to teach. Don't go to a person, and third kind of guru not to go to, the one who has taken a vow of silence. Don't go to such a person, because then even though they know, they are not willing to teach, or they don't want to teach. Simple. So therefore, go to a teacher who is able to teach you to teach you to see what, that you are not a shishya, they are not the guru, you are the same as them. Ishvaro gururatmeti murti bheda vibhagine vyomavat vyapta dehaya dakshinamurtaye namaha. This is what Lord Dakshinamurti taught. Lord Shiva, in the form of the first teacher, Adi Guru, taught what? That you're an as though student, and the teacher is an as though teacher. And this is like the last frontier of duality. And really speaking, you are nothing but the Guru is nothing but you, Guru is nothing but Bhagavan, you are also nothing but Bhagavan. And all this has to be slowly unfolded through a committed exposure to the teaching. It's not a one-time thing. I saw the Guru on Guru Purnima, enough, and then I go about my day. No. You don't try to keep the guru in the showcase and then air him or her out once a year on Guru Purnima day. No. The teaching is for all the time until the ignorance of the I goes. Until then, the teaching is pursued. And then how to approach the Guru is given, and this is Samaradhya, having worshipped, propitiated, worshipped. Why does the Guru need worship? Guru doesn't need worship. You have to see the Guru as worshipful. Why? Because then you will not have a transference on a psychological transference on the Guru, which stops the flow of knowledge, which interferes with the flow of knowledge. What do you mean by psychological transference? You don't mistake, because the Guru is an authority figure, and all the pains that one has because of the early authority figures in one's life, aka the primary caregivers, father, mother, or any primary caregivers. And sometimes what happens? The memory of the primary caregiver is in the form of of the primary caregiver. So therefore, all these authority issues are deeply there. They don't come out immediately. They come out only in a place of safety. And the relationship with a teacher is the safest relationship you can have, because the Guru is not wanting anything from you. That is the best relationship, really, the most functional relationship. All other relationships are dysfunctional because it is based on you scratch my back and then I will scratch your back. After finding out how much you scratch, then only I will scratch. And it's conditional, it's based on pain, it's based on expectations that can never be fulfilled, it's based on fear of loss, it's based on sorrow. Not so the relationship with the Guru, because it's a one sided relationship. You are relating to the Guru. The Guru is relating only to himself or herself, because you are non separate from him or her in his or her vision. This is the beauty of it. That's why this relationship can never be sullied, can never go awry, can never be, can never be distorted. So therefore, the Guru doesn't need you. You need the Guru. Therefore, you worship the Guru in the Hindu tradition, in the Sanatana Dharma tradition. You worship the teacher so that you don't see in the teacher the remnant of mother and father. Even though we say Tvameva Mata cha Pita cha, it is said from an enlightened stance. It's not like, all your mummy issues and daddy issues are, may they not be projected on the teacher. This is the prayer. That's what the prayer that Hari Vitthal chanted in the beginning. Ma vidvishavahai. May there not be any kind of a misunderstanding between us. Between what? The teacher and the student. And the teacher won't misunderstand the student. The student may also not misunderstand the teacher. Misunderstand means this problem of psychological transference, may it not be there. That is what is the beauty of this. That is why the worship, that is why we say Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So there, when something is worshipped, it is very difficult to denigrate that which you worship. So if you put the Guru on the pedestal, then you will not denigrate the Guru. Then the worship of the Guru, the worshipful attitude coming from a place of Shraddha, that the Guru has something to give me, that, and I trust that pending understanding, I trust that that kind of an attitude is what is needed for the transmission of this knowledge. Because otherwise, whatever the Guru says will become another object of distrust. What? How can you say I'm Brahman? How do you know? You know or what? You are enlightened or what? Otherwise that kind of idea, it becomes another kind of a relationship which has become sullied. And so, therefore, I keep this relationship burning bright. How? By letting my doubts and my distrust burn in the fire of this knowledge. Jnanagni sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute. Bhasmasat means full. Sati katsne, there is a sutra. Sat means completely full, without any remnant, without any lesha. And so this way, I worship the teacher, have a worshipful attitude towards the teacher, because I want to gain the truth of myself as Bhagavan. So Samaradhya, having worshipped, how? Bhaktya, with devotion. Then you ask the question about your own nature. You ask the question. You ask the questions. Who am I? How did I? Why am I sad? How come I don't know this? What will it take to know this? How am I Brahman? And how come I'm not the body? All this you ask. You ask whatever to the heart's content, Vicharya. And along with the Guru, you have an inquiry. Into what? Into your own nature. What else? You have an inquiry into your own nature. And then what? Then you gain the tattva. Then you gain the truth of who you are. You gain the tattva, vicharya tattvam, vicharya swarupam. You do vichara, you understand. And apnoti tattvam, you gain the truth of yourself. The teaching is successful. Why is the teaching successful? The teaching is successful. Why? Because you have understood what there is to be seen. You have seen what there is to be seen. You have understood that you are non-separate from the teacher and the taught, and you are one with the teacher. You have understood that. And there is nothing better than this. Because you have understood that, then you are, the last line says, Param Brahma Nityam Tadevaham Asmi. I am nothing but this Brahman, which is Param, which is the ultimate, which is in the form of this Satyam Jnanam Anantam. I am everything, but I am not any one thing. And then, how is this knowledge, dridhi kritam? How is this knowledge made firm? How do you make this knowledge very, very firm? And it says Niddhidhyasya. So, vicharya, having made this inquiry, and then, then after doing Shravanam, because you listen to the teacher, that is not mentioned, but it is alluded to here. About what? About your Swaswarupam, about your own nature. You gain the tattva, you gain the truth, the essence of this oneness, that all that is there is you, everything is nothing but you. Niddhidhyasya. Then this is, and even if there are some problems in living this knowledge, because sometimes what happens, I cannot live this knowledge. I know I'm Brahman, but I'm constantly falling into conflictual situations. I'm conflicting, I'm conflicted inside. I'm fomenting arguments. I'm getting into needlessly difficult situations and keeping on prolonging them. Yeah, I'm unable to walk away. So that means what? There is a habitual orientations there are which have taken over, and so what do I do to them? I contemplate on the words that the teacher has taught. I contemplate. I contemplate on the words of the teacher. I contemplate on whatever the teacher has taught, and then that is called Niddhidhyasana. Then the person becomes what? Vidwan. And then Param Brahma Nityam Tadeva Ahamasmi. I am nothing other than this Brahman, which is eternal, Nityam, which is unchanging. I am that alone. I am Bhagavan. I am non separate from Bhagavan. This I have understood. Very, very beautiful. Then we go to the next verse. यदानन्दरूपं प्रकाशस्वरूपं निरस्तप्रपञ्चं परिच्छेदहीनम् अहं ब्रह्मवृत्त्यैकगम्यं तुरीयं परं ब्रह्म नित्यं तदेवाहमस्मि. So, what is it that you understood after gaining this knowledge? So, why did you go to the Guru? What did you learn? What did you understand? And to that, the answer to that, what did you learn from going to the Guru, is given in the third verse. What did you understand? This Atma you understood, this Brahman you understood. What is this Brahman? Ananda Rupa. It is in the form of unbridled, limitless joy. Limitless joy. It is in the form of unbridled and limitless joy. Brahman means joyful. It is totally, totally joyful. Meaning, there is nothing other than joy, and I am that Brahman, and I am myself joyful. Why are you yourself joyful? Because I am Brahman. And there is nothing that bothers me because the whole Jagat has been reduced to an extension of myself. How and all, it takes a long time it's a long exposition outside the scope of what is possible in this short immersion. All for how and all, you can take more classes and understand. But briefly, this is what it takes. It takes to understand I am nothing but that which is, I'm one with the cause of the universe. And the I is walked from the identification of the body mind sense complex all the way to that consciousness, that sentience which upholds the whole Jagat, which is the cause of the Jagat, aka Ishvara. That I has to be walked over. The I is firmly in the body, identified wrongly with the body, with the mind, with the senses. And that is, Niddhidhyasanam. Niddhidhyasana is repatriating the I back to where it belongs, because the I strays back even after the knowledge, as it were, because of certain habits. Those habits are very, very difficult to overcome. So the I is repeatedly repatriated. So therefore, when I understand all this is nothing but me, where is the sense of deprivation? No deprivation. No deprivation, no sorrow. Only Ananda. Then all this is nothing but me. And then all this belongs to me, even if you say that is also again no sorrow. Then and then no fear also. Why? Because there is nothing and nobody out to get me. This is what it is. Anandam Brahmano Vidwan na vibheti kutaschaneti etagum habava tapati kimaham sadhu na karavam kimaham papamakaravamiti. Taittiriya Upanishad says, Anandam Brahmana, the one who knows I am Brahman, and it is Ananda. The Vidwan of this, the knower of this. What is that? Na bibheti, is not afraid. Utaschana, why? Because there is no other source of fear. If you see, the word fear uses the preposition of. I am afraid of ... You can say dogs, cockroaches, anything you can say. I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of that. Alligators, snakes, cockroaches, scorpions, crabs, you can put all those things. All kinds of creepy, crawly things. So they become the recipient of the preposition of. So if there is nothing other than you, then there is no cause of fear. Because dvaitadhi bhayam bhavati, fear comes out of a sense of what? Duality. But we have to keep the different levels in mind. The Vyavaharika level, on the empirical level, if the Jnani sees the tiger, while going out on a walk, if the Jnani sees the Jnani is not going to say, oh, the tiger is a manifestation of Brahman, and so no problem. And then what? It will be like that limerick. The lady of Niger smiled as she rode on the tiger. They returned from the ride with a lady inside and the smile on the face of the tiger. Yeah, so this is so Advaita doesn't mean you just let anything happen, and the what is that, the let the what's its name let the tiger consume. Maybe you can do that. You are free enough to do that. But you are also free enough to run. And running is not seen as a sign of weakness or anything like that. He cognitively Advaita, and practically says putting oneself out of one's body out of harm's way. The two are not in contradiction. Not at all. So therefore, na bibheti kutaschana iti means what? That I'm not afraid of anything. Anything, because there is no source. There should be two things to compare. There should be two things to, one more thing that I need to be afraid of. If everything is just nothing but myself, what is there to be afraid of? So sorrow is not there. Fear is not there. When sorrow and fear are not there, then what is there? Ananda alone is there. Ananda is not contrived. Usually, every day, we want contrived Ananda. We want a contact high where the subject reaches out and grasps the object. That's the only kind of Ananda we know. We know this, okay? I want cake, chocolate cake. So I'm separated from the chocolate cake. I see the chocolate cake. I get happy. Then I eat the chocolate cake. I'm one with the chocolate cake. I'm very happy. But then it lasts only as long as the chocolate cake. And then after that, I desire something else. This is the only kind of Ananda we know. Truncated, interrupted, finite Ananda. Ananda that is infinitely finite because it keeps coming to an end. This is the only Ananda I know. But then the Upanishad says that Ananda that you feel after eating chocolate, ice cream, whatever else is your object of fancy, whatever joy that you get is nothing but an outpouring of your own joy. You are already the pleased self, and that pleased self is encountered in these contact with various objects of consumption and various objects of desire, and therefore you become addicted to the objects because you think the objects are giving you the happiness. No, that happiness belongs to you. Objects cannot produce happiness, they are inert. Whereas Ananda is connected to sentience. It's a live happiness, it's a live joy. It's a joy that is alive to the realities. It's not some kind of a manufactured, contrived happiness contacting or contact of the subject with the object. No, but chocolate cake makes me happy. If somebody were to say that, you know what I would tell them? Okay, give them not just a one cake, but 3 kg cake, big one. Ask them to feel happy and keep on eating it. When? Right now. How many pieces can they eat? 2 or 3 they will eat and then they will hold their stomach. Ayyo, enough. I can't eat anymore. Take it away. I'm sick of it. Correct? Yeah. So if the same object makes you happy all the time, then the next day somebody brings the chocolate cake, the fellow is sad. Why? Because the person had a fight with a significant other. And after that, if you give them the object of delight, they are not delighted at all because the mood is not there. Then you imagine another, the third person, person number 3, who is given the chocolate cake, also rejects the chocolate cake, but with an apology. Says, I wish it is my favorite cake, but I wish I could eat it. Why can't you eat it? Because there is something wrong with my stomach. If I eat this, I'll have to spend the next 2 days in the bathroom. I'm already having a stomach flu. Can't eat it. So you see, if the chocolate cake, if the nature of the object was to produce ananda for the subject, then it should be doing all the time the same thing. Swabhavasya swarupasya na nivrittihi. There is no freedom from the Swarupa. Swarupa means it should behave, that is its nature. But it doesn't. The same chocolate cake the next day I don't want because I have a stomach ache and I don't want it when I am not in the mood for it. So that means it's not just a subject object contact. It's not just the availability of the chocolate cake or anything. The chocolate cake is just what is that? A metaphor. You can fill in the blanks. You can replace the chocolate cake with relationship, house, bank account, anything that you fancy. You can replace that. And then you see that that alone is not the cause of the happiness. That is not giving ananda. Ananda is already there, but because of the self ignorance, I am not able to contact it without feeling the props of all these objects, without relying on the props of all these objects. And what does the guru do? Take away the cane, take away the props, and reveal yourself to be the propless Ananda. That is what it is. Reveal yourself to be the propless Ananda without doing anything, without any striving, without trying to make somebody happy so that they will make me happy. No such thing. That is why it is what that is why it is said Ananda Swarupa. Ananda Swarupa. This is Ananda Rupa and Prakasha Swarupa. Prakasha Swarupa means it is of the nature of light. Why? Because I am self-evident. Everything becomes evident to me. It is of the nature of light and it is of the nature of delight. That which is the nature of light and delight, I have understood. And then here is the proplessness that I talked about. Nirasta prapancham. Nirasta prapancham. Nirasta means that over which has disappeared. That which has disappeared. Free of what? Prapancha. These five elements and everything, the bhutas and the bhautikas, things that have come from the five elements, which means that the prapancha is a short form for the universe. Is a short way of saying the Jagat. Prapancha and Jagat are, synonyms. So, Nirasta Prapancham means that which is inherently free of the manifest creation. That which is free of creation. Oh my God, this is what I was worried about. Vedanta will say there is no Jagat. Vedanta is not saying there is no Jagat. Please listen carefully. Vedanta is not Jagat averse. This is one of the, what is that? One of the critiques leveled against Vedanta. Vedanta is not Jagat averse at all. Who said Vedanta is Jagat averse? It is not also a Jagat denier. It's not denying the Jagat. It is not averse to the Jagat. Then what is it? What does Nirasta Prapancham mean? That your happiness, that the you that we are unfolding in the Upanishad, the self that is being unfolded, is free of the Jagat, is free of being affected by the Jagat. Oh, but I'm feeling cold. I need a sweater. It's not you who are feeling cold. It is the body that is feeling cold. Body is feeling cold. You are not cold. You are neither hot nor cold. So this is where the mistake has been made. The mistake has been made, connected to the body, so that mistake has to be corrected. How? Blah blah blah. Going to the guru and surrendering to this teaching and worshipping the teacher and the teachings and gaining this knowledge after a committed exposure, removing all the habitual orientations. Then I can see that the Jagat is not intrinsic to my understanding of Brahman, of Bhagavan. The Jagat is an incidental expression of Bhagavan. Just like, pot and clay. From the standpoint of the pot, clay is intrinsic to the pot. Without clay, there is no pot or any substance, brass, etc. It relies on a substance. Similarly, without Brahman, there is no Jagat at all. No Jagat is possible without Brahman, and then what else is not there? No Jagat is possible without Brahman. But then, from the standpoint of clay, can you say what? That, the pot is intrinsic to clay? No, you cannot say that, because the clay can be in the form of a pot, the clay can be on like a lump on the roadside, the clay can be in the form of a Krishna figurine, the clay can be in the form of a lid, a jug, a vessel, a jar. It doesn't have to be in the form of a pot. So from the standpoint of the clay, which is the cause of the pot, that the clay is not intrinsically connected to the pot, but the pot is intrinsically dependent upon the clay. Pot is intrinsic to clay, but clay is not intrinsic to the pot. Jagat is intrinsic, the Brahman, is free of the Jagat, but the Jagat is dependent upon Brahman. Brahman is intrinsic to the Jagat, but the Jagat is an incidental projection and expression of Brahman. And this I understand by going to the teacher. This is what I have understood. Nirasta prapancham. And then what? Parichedahinam. Parichedahinam means free of limits. Free of three kinds of parichedas: vastutaha, kalataha, and deshataha. Three kinds of limitations are talked about in the Shastra. One is what? The kala paricheda, the limitations of time. Everything that I know is time bound, except this truth of myself, except this knowledge which reveals me to be that which is free of everything. So I am free of time. Why? Because time is an as though projection of me. It's just beautiful, amazing. I'm free of space because space is nothing but an as though projection of myself. And so, and then I'm free of time, I'm free of space, I'm free of being one object, because if I'm being one object, then I cannot be another object. And so, paricheda hinam. And then what? Aham Brahma Vrityaika Gamyam Turiyam. How do I understand this, that I am free of the Jagat? I am free of all this. Through one single thought alone. And what is that thought? That thought is called Akhandakara Vritti. That which happens in the teaching situation when the teacher wields the Shabda Pramana, the knowledge which is in form of the words, that corrects all the wrong identification and the misunderstanding of the eye. When those words correct, there is an aha moment. Ha! Yes, there is a cognition, there is an understanding. There is a vritti of oneness that is created. That is what is called Brahmakara vritti or Akhandakara vritti. So through this vritti alone one understands. The thought itself, the thought is communicated in the mind of the student by the words of the teacher. The thought being finite, even the thought that I am limitless rises and falls, leaving in its wake the knowledge that is free of rising or falling. So the thought goes and opens the heart where the mistakes are. The thought corrects the mistake. No, I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, I am Brahman alone. That which manifests as this body, but which is not this body. Body is Brahman, I am not the body. Mind is Brahman because everything is Brahman, but I am not just the mind. In order to be Brahman, I cannot be any one thing because I am everything. And so this understanding is communicated in the form of a sacred thought in the sacred holy teaching situation where you recognize yourself. The thought comes and goes, but that you which is self-evident, which is not pramana siddha, which is swatas siddha, which is already evident to you. Only then you were confused about the nature. When that confusion was removed, the self as Satchidananda shines. And what is this self? Turiya. Turiya means neither the waker, nor the sleeper, nor the dreamer. This is what it is. I'm neither the waker, because I'm not the waker. Waker is me. Because if you ask me, are you awake? I will say, yes, I'm awake. Waker is me, because everything is me, but I am not just the waker. Why? Because that there is vyabhichara of the waking state. The waking state soon gets morphed into the sleeping state and then the dream state. That same I inheres the sleeping, dream, and waking states without becoming, quote unquote, becoming any one of them. That I is, waker I am, I'm not the waker. Because if I'm the waker, I should be permanently awake. But no, I'm not the waker. That means what? That I am there, I am the one who's upholding the waking state right now. I am the one who is upholding, inhabiting the sleep state, inhabiting the dream state. This is what I am. I am not anything other than all this. And so this is the Turiyam Yadananda Rupam, then Param Brahma Nityam. And I am this Param Brahma, which is free, which is this thing. So therefore, what? Whose nature is free of all limitations, which is the source of all joy, which is self-evident, which is for which from which standpoint the creation comes and goes. The creation is not adding anything to the definition of Brahman at all. And then that which is communicated through the knowledge, which is in the form, which is internalized in the form of a thought, which is transmitted through by words, which is internalized in the form of the thought of those words, which immediately touch the closed heart and make it blossom, make it come alive. With this knowledge, I am indeed free, I am indeed whole, I am free of time, I am free of space, I am free of being a finite object. That alone, that Brahman I am. More we'll see in tomorrow's session. And then I will stop here because I have another class on Taittiriya Bhashya, but then there might be some questions. I want to make sure that we have enough time for questions. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ.
Thank you, Swamini ji. It was a very, very wonderful session, and it was very good to listen to the next two verses of the Ashtakam. So we have some questions.
Yes.
When I listen to discourses, I'm getting the feeling that I'm the Brahman. But after that, I'm
Great.
back to this worldly living. And I start feeling that body is me and others outside my body is the world. How to go
Yeah.
about this? Please guide.
Yeah. Yeah. So you just spend more time in discourses. Simple. Yeah. Because one time it reveals, but then that habitual orientation that we talked about, that has to be worn out. And so first Shravanam, 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 listen, 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 and wear out the welcome of Ajnanam. So that Atma Ajnanam is a old habit, and that old habits die hard, but they do die. They do die. And the more the exposure you bathe yourself in this knowledge, when you bathe yourself in this knowledge, what happens? You are there, you are very much there, and then nothing else. Nothing else is there at all. Nothing else is there other than you. And so that is how you expose yourself more and more to that. And then you take notes during the class, dwell on those notes, and spend more time in this and less time in other things.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. Next question. If the body is feeling cold, then I feel I must help the body to become warm. How do I do that and feel for the body?
Like you said, you already have the answer. You don't say, I am cold and why me? Don't go there. Why only I am cold and why I don't have a sweater, whatever it is. Go get a sweater, go get a blanket. Then the body needs to be taken care of. You are the one, you can only be the managing trustee of this body. And that's why Bhagavan has given you this body to take care of, so that it's available for this knowledge. You can't expect somebody else will offer the blankie. Don't wait for that. You go get the blanket, make the body warm, and then go about the day. That is a very practical approach. That's how it is. You have already answered this.
Wonderful. It is difficult to see myself as Atma Swarupa when I am in extreme physical or mental pain. How to go?
Yeah, that is. Yeah. So you see, this is a story which my guru used to tell, a true story. So they had a clinic, in the Rishikesh ashram, and one young boy was brought there, 11-year-old boy. Oh, my whole body is paining. My whole body is paining. and nobody was able to understand. The doctor said, is the then they had to do part by part. Is the head paining? No. Are the shoulders paining? No. Like this they went down, and then it turned out that the pinky toe, the small toe of the left leg was swollen and was paining. So this is so localize the pain. That localizing the pain is anesthetizing the pain. That is what it is. When you localize it, then you are able to observe it. Yes, I'm in tremendous pain. Maybe there are tears flowing down the face also. It's okay. I'm in tremendous pain. Localize the pain. And then you neutralize the pain by however it is, whether you need to take a Tylenol, crocin, Tylenol, whatever it is, or put a ointment, you neutralize the pain. This is for physical pain. Mental or emotional pain or anguish can also be in the similar way localized. Similarly, you localize the mental emotional pain by saying this has to do with this particular trigger, and somebody said something to me and that has hurt me. And why should I matter? Why should it matter that somebody hurt me or somebody did something to me? It should not matter, but it does matter because it reminds me of a situation of helplessness in my early childhood. Localize it. Then you see it's not the other person in front at all. They just said something, they went away. It is not the other person at all. It is you. And so this is exactly how to localize it, and you always remain in the place of the observer. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for elucidating
One more
the
question
answers.
is here. One more
Uh,
question I think is here.
yes. Is so there is Atman, there is Brahman, and there is Jagat. I mean, I don't understand the question.
No, it's not
Um,
a question. It is like a doubt. No, there are not three things.
right.
There is just Brahman, which is called Atma with reference to this body, mind, sense complex. All there is Brahman. Jagat is Brahman. Brahman is not the Jagat. Atma is Brahman. Brahman is Atma. There's only one thing. If there were three things, I would be out of a job. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And
I would be
absolutely. Can
unemployed.
indeed, indeed. Also, it's like the pure consciousness and then the associated consciousness and the reflected consciousness. Is that the right
Yeah. Yes,
parallel?
yes, your understanding is right, and that is how Swami Chinmayanandji put it. And I now sometimes people ask me what is this and what is that and everything like that. But here, if you say pure consciousness, then that somehow sometimes people, because this the Kali, we are in the peak of Kali Yuga, people associate it with, oh, the Jagat is impure
Yeah.
consciousness. No, no, no. Jagat
No.
is as pure. It's just go back to the crystal example. So
Mm,
the crystal with a red cloth, that is that is Brahman along with the Jagat.
right.
But Brahman along with the Jagat, expressed as the Jagat, does not really have any effect on Brahman. Brahman simply lends its presence, satta, its spurti, its sentience. And it's
Wonderful.
Ananda, it's Anantya, it's everlastingness to all the things. And then the name and form is a projection by by Maya. That's all it is. The name and form is a kalpita. It's an as though projection of that name and form. The Jagat is name and Brahman plus name and form. It's a value added plus. The name and form can go. Brahman alone is there. Okay.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Right. I think we
Thank
can conclude here. Thank you so much,
you.
Swaminiji.
Thank
Dear
you.
viewers,
Tomorrow.
we will continue our reflection on the Ashtakam tomorrow. We will have a session in the morning at 10 a.m. and again in the evening, we will be meeting same time, 4 p.m. Looking
Yeah.
forward for the sessions.
One last question. Should we
Okay.
behave like the Brahman or the body? Yeah. You please answer that question. Do you want to behave like how the body behaves, or do you want to behave like that which inheres this body? I think you know the answer, obviously. Yeah, body doesn't behave. The body is just it's just reacts to stimuli. But you are the conscious of this body. And the one who is conscious of this body is not affected by the body. So, do you want to identify with the body, or do you want to identify with that which is the source of this body mind sense complex, Bhagavan? That is something that we have to decide every single day. Okay? Om Tat Sat. All the best. Take care. Om.
Thank you.